Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to show you a completely screen-free way to teach maths to children aged 3 to 7 using nothing more than a pencil and a piece of paper, exactly like what you see here. This activity is called How Many Rectangles, and it grows with your child year after year. Let's begin with the youngest learners. For our youngest children, we start right here with this simple square. And we tell them that the square has 4 sides. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And also it has 4 corners. These are the corners, 1, 2, 3, 4. And what's special about square is that all the sides are of the same length. Let your child trace around it with their finger and ask them, can you find another square in the room? After they manage to find something that is squared in the room, ask them, can you find something that is not a square? And then let's look at this other shape here. This is called a rectangle. They also have 4 sides. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct. And they also have 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then ask your child, do you see any difference between this shape, which is called a square, and this one, which is called a rectangle? They usually are able to see that they look different and might not be able to articulate the why one is different from the other, and just guide your kid that in a rectangle, 2 sides are longer and 2 sides are shorter. In a square, all sides are of the same length. So this is a very good activity for kids aged 3 to 4. And then we move on to this section, and you can ask your kid, which ones do you think are the rectangles and which ones are the squares? This is a good activity for kids aged 4 to 5. And just let them count the rectangles, 1, 2, 3, and then count the squares, 1, 2, 3. And again, just reinforcing this idea of the differences between a square and a rectangle. And then we can move on to this shape. And this is usually a good activity for kids age 5 to 6. And you can ask your child, how many rectangles can you find in this picture? Usually, they will find 2 rectangles. So this being the first one and this being the second one. You just guide them to notice the small rectangles, and these are the small rectangles, which they probably will manage to do them on their own. But then also make them realize that this is also one rectangle made out of 2 rectangles. This is like the biggest rectangle that goes around everything. And this is a wonderful moment because children love realizing that shapes can be combined to make new shapes. And then we make it a bit more challenging, and these are very good for kids age 6 to 7. And just ask them again, basically, how many rectangles can you count in this shape? And probably by this time they will spot easily the 4 rectangles here, and most probably the bigger rectangle here as well. And you gently guide them that we also have other rectangles within a shape, this one being 1, and this one being 2, and then this one being 3, and this one being 4. This teaches a genuine mathematical strategy, not guessing, not checking randomly, but just working in an organized way. It's real problem solving. If you see that they manage that shape, counting all the rectangles within that shape, then just make it more challenging, and you will see basically when it becomes too challenging for them, because we don't want that. But just try to make them realize that there's a methodology how we can count. We always start with the smaller ones here, and then on the second row, and then we go horizontally counting the other shapes, and then we go vertically counting the other shapes, and finally we never forget the biggest rectangle. And just in case you're wondering, yes, this activity is backed by science. Research in child development shows that activities like this build spatial reasoning, which is one of the strongest predictors of later success in maths and STEM subjects. Studies also show that when children learn to combine small shapes into bigger ones, they strengthen early geometry, problem solving, and visual thinking, essential foundations for topics like area, fractions, and measurement. Counting rectangles also exercises working memory and executive function, the mental skills that help children focus, plan, and organize their thinking. These brain processes are strongly linked to higher achievement in both maths and reading. And because this activity is completely screen free and hands on, it supports better attention, better retention, and deeper learning, all proven by decades of early childhood research. So, this tiny little activity is doing a lot for your child's brain. So, there you have it. Um, a simple screen-free activity that grows beautifully with your child from age 3 all the way to age 7, building strong mathematical thinking in the most natural, playful way. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy learning.